cold out here.
Stand your ground, don't give in.
Stay back, you no good, dirty protesters.
In his article, Derek Hawkins of the Washington Post, accessed November 30th of 2016, stated that authorities defended their use of tear gas, rubber bullets, and water cannons to disperse protesters at Standing Rock, sending over 17 people to the hospital that night. The constitutional right to protest is being violated, leaving the Sioux tribe concerned for their water supply. As young students who were raised in a world where we had no voice, we will fight for our environment and against discrimination to make the world a better place. The Dakota Access Pipeline is an unnecessary investment that endangers life, and those who defend it are defending the idea that it is okay to violate human rights. We are going to talk about the pipeline, why it should be discontinued, and then address some of the reasons people may support the construction of the pipeline. Now let's dig into the history of the pipeline.
The plans for the North Dakota pipeline was first proposed in 2014. According to the Energy Transfer Partners website, a Texas-based company who is building the pipeline is going to be 1,172 miles of 30-inch diameter and connecting the Bakken and Three Forks areas in North Dakota to Patoka, Illinois. It will permit domestically produced crude oil in North Dakota to the refineries in Illinois. It will transport 470,000 barrels a day with a capacity of 570,000 barrels a day. This will allow shippers to reach markets in the Midwest, East Coast, and Gulf Coast. The pipeline is said to be completed in the fourth quarter of 2016. The pipeline is almost completed except for a short segment running underneath the Missouri River. The pipeline will be next to a Standing Rock Sioux reservation, including a sacred burial ground. The pipeline is completed, and the pipeline, Now that you know the history of the pipeline, let's take a look at how the protesters are taking a stand against the system.
Okay, so we're going to start with some protests that had happened in the U.S. leading up to this. One of the first movements the U.S. government made was something called Manifest Destiny, the belief that it was our God-given right to venture westward and take the Native Americans' rightful land. And this broke into many small wars. And then in 1876, the Sioux people had to fight off General Custer for trying to kick them out of their land. And they actually defeated him there, or later had their land taken away. And they tried to give compensation in money multiple times up to now, but still haven't accepted the money. And then in the 60s, we get the American Indian movement, which is asking for civil rights alongside the other civil rights movements happening at the same time. And then we get the Occupy movement, where we see a little more modern protesting and how that works, and where they were spied upon by the government, reading their text messages. And I'll also mention suffrage happening in the 1900s, and they were actually force-fed when they went on hunger strikes and were in prison. And now to the situation at hand. We have a militarized police force. Over 400 people have been jailed, and this is receiving a lack of media attention. And in the 1986, there was 50 media outlets, and today we only have 6. So there's a monopoly happening that doesn't want to report on this. And reporters have been jailed. And one thing that all these protests have in common is trying to get attention for a cause for people who are being put down, whether financially or through other means. And one way is through music, which I'll now cue up a song made in honor of.
Just to make sure that
And there you can see him referencing a lot of the things I said and talking about all that. And then a question is protest effective? And will this protest be effective? Well, the results are in, and it was effective in at least making them reconsider. And without protest, we wouldn't have things like the civil rights movement and stuff like that. So people have to make their voice heard. And why protest? To make the changes you want to see. And protesting is a right put in place to nourish a healthy society. We must see through the fog of propaganda and take action to produce change. Now let us listen to the counter argument.
All right, so according to the Denver Post, the Dallas-based energy transfer partners said that the pipeline would be useful to keep pace with the state's prolific oil production. It would also cut down on truck and train traffic, moving oil back and forth. Also, in theory, they would have a leak detection system that they could close the valve if a leak would happen within minutes. But that's also in theory, so what if like a leak does happen, then it ruins the whole ecosystem. Plus, with $3.8 billion going into the project, it could be potentially put towards better renewable resources. And here's some other reasons why the pipeline is also bad.
So many Americans aren't informed about the negatives regarding the pipeline. The counter-arguments are easily refuted because the pipeline is not bad, the placement is bad. According to the article titled "The Sacred Land at the Center of the Dakota Pipeline Dispute" that I accessed on November 30th, a member of the Sioux tribe, Faith Spotted Eagle, stated, "Archaeologists come in who are taught from a colonial structure, and they have the audacity to interpret how our people were buried. How would they even know?" So the pipeline is on their sacred land and burial grounds. How would you feel if something was built through underneath one of your burial grounds? Although it's many feet below the land, if it were to break at any time, it would contaminate their clean water supply, and that is the main issue at hand. This isn't the only case of discrimination against Native Americans. It's been happening for hundreds and hundreds of years. We have a whole country, and in order to respect their land and culture, we must make an active decision and choice to move it. It is clear that the pipeline will be negatively affecting the lives of thousands of Native Americans, whether it be their clean water or their burial grounds. Even if there's little hope of stopping it, we must come together to ensure that this does not happen again.
We now know that the pipeline has a negative impact on the environment, and the treatment of its protesters violates American morals and rights as human beings. We hope that you will take a stand with us and not only protect your planet, but shape its future as well.